All right, guys, so next we're going to talk about some back-end assignment things, and what I'm talking about is the secondary and the linebackers. We're going to talk coverage here. So to make this easy, let's just draw what's called a 2x2 offensive set. 2 receivers on this side and 2 receivers on this side, okay? Obviously that leaves quarterback and running back here. So real quickly, when we're talking about wide receivers and how we number them, I do it both for offense and defense. We start from the outside in. So this would be the number 1 receiver on this side. Doesn't mean it's their top receiver. It means he's closest to the sideline. And the number 2 receiver on this side. Obviously this is number 2 on our left and number 1 on our left, okay? Obviously they put a guy in here and they go trips. That's a number 3 receiver, okay? And so they can go, this is 2x2, you can go 3x1, all right? So we're just gonna start in a 2x2 set for simplicity. And we're gonna talk a little bit about drop types, okay? So the zones that typically we use to defend with zone defenses. Man-to-man is easy. Match up on the man, you chase him wherever he goes, I don't care where he runs, you have him. So we're not gonna talk man right now, we're gonna talk zone. Zone, there's typically what's called a hook or a curl drop, okay, which is kind of in this neighborhood, okay, over where number 2 would catch the hook or number 1 would catch the curl, okay. This would be a hook route, this would be a curl route, okay. So a hook to curl drop, a middle drop, so let's just call this a hook drop, a middle drop, and these zones are bigger than when I'm making them, okay. Another hook drop over in here. These zones are much bigger than what I'm making them. A flat drop, okay? So flat is over here, and that's kind of the shallow, I like to say, 10 and under, outside the numbers, and the numbers are, what run outside on the field there, you have the numbers, the 10-yard line, the 20-yard, we call those the numbers. So get into the numbers, 10 yards depth, and outside, that's the flat, okay? So you have the flat here. So if we have a 5 under defense like a cover 2, remember zones, full zone has 7 guys, okay? So a cover 2 would have 5 under, so you would have a flat, a hook, a middle, a hook, and a flat, and then 2 on top. And then that gets into what the next drop is which is your deep zones, okay? And we like to say deeper than the deepest, meaning you have to be deeper than the deepest wide receiver in your zone, okay? So here we'd have, halves of the field. These guys better be able to move, right? If we go cover 3, it cuts it into thirds of the field. Now cover 3, this is just intuitive math here. If we have 3 guys deep, and there's 7 guys for full coverage, means we have 4 guys underneath. So cover 3 is going to turn more into smaller zones on top. And that is not a good drawing by me, but you get the idea. And if I have 3 there, we have a hook curl, we have 2 hook curls, 2 flats, and 3 on top. That's cover 3, okay? Cover 4, go figure. The zones get smaller on top, but now I only have 3 under, so I have a middle, and then usually what we'll call, this is kind of a hybrid drop here, but like a curl to flat drop, which would be kind of between these two. It kind of comes into here, you would have a middle, okay? This is cover 4. You'd have a curl to flat drop, which is kind of like a drop to here and then run to here, okay? Drop to here and run to here. So that would be, and then 4 on top. Okay, that's cover 4. Now, one thing I want to just briefly touch on is we can run these zones as what I call magic. And that's an acronym that stands for missing a guy in coverage. So now instead of having a full coverage of 7, I'm going to have 6. So now I run cover 3 and I have 3 under, 3 on top, okay? Now with cover 4, I'm pretty protected down what's called the seams, okay? The seams of the defense, which is generally straight over a number 2 receiver, those are the seams. When I go to cover 3, that's a vulnerable area, okay? I have a middle, I have these thirds here, but you can see the seams, okay, which people will try to attack against cover 3, okay? Now, if we run a magic cover 3, we're going to have a middle drop, and then there's a special type of drop that we use in these magic, we call it a seam to flat drop, okay? So what these guys want to do, these defenders, they want to ride this number 2 receiver up the seam and then take off to the flat, okay? Up the seam and then to the flat. So that's a seam to flat drop. And that would be something we'd use in a magic type scenario. If we're blitzing and we're sending 5 and we're only leaving 6 in coverage, you can still do it, but you have to know what you need to protect. Because as soon as you start making that zone, I mean, zones are vulnerable even with 7 guys, you know. They're less vulnerable, but they're vulnerable with 7 guys. There's things that you can exploit. When you take it down and you go, we call -1, or some guys we can go -2, okay, the holes get bigger, which means the blitz needs to get home. All right. So, real quickly, I just want to draw in some zones and have everybody look at the where they're weak. So cover 2, one of the things that you're going to have your corners do, they're always going to be tight here. They're going to be funneling these receivers, these number 1 receivers, inside. And why? Because these safeties back here, if we let an outside release happen here, that stretches the safety all the way to the sideline. Now his half becomes huge, okay? Versus if I can funnel him inside, then maybe his half's only this big, okay? And I know that doesn't seem like much, but if you stretch this another 5 yards to the sideline, he can't get his hands on that ball, okay? So we're always going to funnel inside, okay? And this is an area that people like to attack against cover 2. Over the corner, under the safety on the sideline. We call it the hole, okay? It's a big area that people like to attack. So when we talk about attacking the hole in cover 2, that's what we're talking about. Over the corner, under the safety, on the sideline. People will throw the fade here, so they'll do something like try to get an outside release or inside release and fast back outside, and they'll run a speed out here, okay? We call this a smash concept, and we're going to get into this when we get into offense. But they're reading this guy now. If he jumps this hard, they throw this underneath the safety. If he sags with this, they stick the outcut underneath him, okay? Obviously, they could run a hitch and a corner and do the same thing. So they could do something like this, right? This is classic smash here. So now, does this guy sit on the hitch, throw the corner in the hole? If not, so see the corner, throw the corner is the old saying in Pee Wee football. All right, versus he sinks, stick the hitch. Okay, simple read. High-low, that's called a high-low read for a quarterback. Okay. Cover 3, real quick. So that, and then another area that people like to attack is obviously between the safeties here, especially if you can hold this Mike backer here with some sort of run action. Okay, get him to come here, and then release a number 3 receiver in something like a 3-by-1. Have a number 3 here, and release him between the safeties. Okay. On this guy here, try to get an outside release here, try to get down the seams here, and try to hit this guy between the safeties. There's another hole here between the safeties that Mike has to try to get back to and help with, but if you freeze him with run action, that gets more difficult. So that's cover 2. Cover 3, very quickly. Let's just draw it back 2-by-2. Okay, so now we're going to be a single high safety. All right. Some people call this a closed coverage, meaning the middle of the field is closed, versus an open coverage, the middle of the field is open. Okay. All right. Corner. Corner. Now your corner's deep because here's your third players. Here they are. All right. Corners and a single safety. Now you could start this out with a 2 high and roll one safety down, okay? And so it goes from a 2 high structure to a 1 high. And when we're talking about how many high, we're talking about the number of safeties. So if we start a 2 high and roll one down to a flat, let's say, and it became a one high structure to cover 3, okay? And again, we have a flat player out here, okay? This could be a roll down safety, this could be a nickel, this could be an outside linebacker, okay? We have a hook guy here. We have another hook guy here. We have another flat guy here. Okay, so where people like to attack cover 3, down the seam, okay? Between the corner and the safety, they want to attack that seam, okay? Freezing this guy and attacking the hook drop with something like double slants, okay? Here and here, getting this guy to stick his nose in here a little bit and then making a read off this guy. Does he slide inside and reduce down in here? If he does, we got the slant behind him. If he expands to the outside slant, we stick this almost down the seam. Slant out would be another concept, okay? And same thing if you could hold this guy a little longer with some run action. We get this. Now just read this defender. Does he chase the slant? Throw the out. Does he sit on the out? Throw the slant, okay? These are simple, just overload reads. What teams are trying to do here is put guys on the edges of these zones. So I can put a guy here on this zone and here on this zone simultaneously, make the read. Which one does he go to? Throw the other one. So those are some areas that people like to attack in cover 3. The hook drops, the flat, and the seams. That is it for that talk.